Hello everyone, welcome to Blue Heron Hill. I'm Sue and we're in the garden today and we're going to harvest some more sweet potatoes. This is my second video on my sweet potato harvest this year. I have two bins here where the foliage is looking rather peaked. My other two up here, my other three way up here are still vibrant and very lush and very green. These seem to be dying off, and I'm sure between now and when we have a frost, those tubers are not going to be growing that much. So I thought I would bring you along as I unearth two bins of sweet potatoes. Let's do it. As I started to pull away some of the foliage, I wanted to clip it off before I dump my bin. I was pulling out some of the foliage, and the roots have even taken to growing into the ground outside of the bin. And then I even pulled up this little sweet potato that was growing right here in this hole in the ground. It gives me good hope that I'm going to have at least something inside that bin if they're starting to grow outside of the bin already. First off, as I started, I'm going to clip some of the foliage off of this mound in here. This, of course, will either go to the chickens or into the compost pile. My first spreading out a tarp so I can just dump this on here. Here is my stake. You probably can't read it. Here's my stake. It reads Beauregard. It's a very common sweet potato, often found in the markets. You can see there's some right here at the surface. Good sign. Wow, is that one solid mass. I notice I do have a little ant colony going on here, but they're just so small little ants. This might be a better angle for the camera to see. Look at this mass here at the side. And then there's a large congregation of sweet potatoes over here. Ooh. Now that's a good size. Actually looks like a duck, doesn't it? Why, there it is. I think that's quite a nice harvest. I have some rather large ones, but the others are all a nice, probably single serving size. I think I'd rather have them at the medium size than at the larger size. Now these are going to go and get cured in my greenhouse for a week or two. Hopefully the temperatures will stay nice and I can keep the humidity up in there. That's what sweet potatoes need to cure. Their skin at this stage is very, very thin and very fragile. So you don't want to do anything that's going to cause the skin to rip, because that's where decay can start. So let me get this dirt now, this soil, shoveled back into my bin, because I will use it again next year. Of course, I will amend it highly with compost and some other ingredients, so it will be ready to produce another batch of very nice looking sweet potatoes. Here is bin number 2, and already I can see some tubers hopping and breaking the surface of this bin. So I have good hopes this is going to be another successful crop. So again, cut off the foliage. Here is a better representation of the slips that I planted. You can see one was here, one was here, one was here, and then one was over here. And look at how gnarly they got. All right, let's flip this bin and see what it's given me this year. Already I can see some have gone deep and formed along the sides of the bin. Here's the first. Again, I like to harvest when the soil is dry. We've had a few days of rain, but not a large quantity. Probably in total about a ½ inch. So I worried that these may have been a little wet. But now I'm finding the soil is fairly dry, which makes it much easier to dig out these sweet potatoes. I realized that I didn't really give you all a good look at the bounty that I was pulling out. The camera was focused too high. But this is quite a mound of nice sweet potatoes, just like the last one. The last one, I think there were a lot of smalls in there. These, there were more of the larger ones and the medium ones. So, all in all, I think that was highly successful. Now here is today's harvest. 2 baskets. Looks like a lot, feels heavy. I'm gonna take it in and we're gonna weigh it. Here's my ancient scale. I do have a kitchen scale, but I think it only goes up to like 10 pounds. All right, I have it zeroed out on the weight of the basket. And let's see. Almost 15.5 pounds. I think that is a nice haul. Let's go see what the other one weighs. Here's the other one. I think that weighs just as much. Oh, 14 pounds. Now I cure my sweet potatoes in my greenhouse. Couple requirements to curing them. Right now, a sweet potato is full of starch. And the curing, with the curing process, it converts those starches to sugars. I could go into all of that chemistry, but I don't want to bore anybody. So we want these sweet potatoes. We don't want them starchy. So the requirements, it takes heat. They should be at about 80 to 90 degrees, I think. Let's see, in my greenhouse right now, it's reading 72. I'm not sure that we're going to get any more than that. When I close it up, close the door, the vent window, it may reach a higher temperature. But right now, what I do is I lay them out in my greenhouse here. I'll put them on a towel and lay them out flat. And in order to increase the humidity, which is the second requirement, I will put pans of water down on the floor, and that will increase the humidity. So, now to get all these little guys laid out. You don't want them, you want airflow. So you're not going to pile them up too closely together. You know, not on top of each other. Please try and not scrape the skins. This one I did scrape accidentally. Don't know how, but you want to see if you can't avoid scraping the skin. You never want to wash your sweet potatoes before curing or even after curing. After curing, you're going to want to put them in a cool and dark place if possible, so they will store for a long time. Okay, now the rack underneath is going to go for the other basket. And let me get that done. Here. Now another thing, you might say, well, why are you putting these towels and blankets underneath? You need airflow. Yes, I do need airflow. We are closing in on our first frost date. Don't see it really in the forecast, but if it's going to dip down into the 30s, I'm going to cover them to keep in a little bit of warmth, and then I'll uncover them in the daytime when the temperatures will rise to a more perfect curing temperature. So right now I'm going to put a couple bins of water on the floor here and close the door and have the humidity start to rise. I do have a meter that will measure the humidity. I'll try and see if I can't get that out and check and see what it is. But for at least a week, I hope, I'm going to let these cure in here. I just brought in the other ones that I did in the first video on sweet potatoes, and we even cooked some up. And yes, they are very sweet. But they're in my long-term storage down in my basement. So there we are. Another 2 bins with 3 to go. And I'm so excited. This is so far a successful year of sweet potato harvest. If you want to check out a few of my preceding years and see the difficulties that I encountered, especially with those little furry voles that seem to feast on my crop. So far this year, I haven't seen any evidence of rodent damage in my sweet potato beds. Thanks for coming along on this second sweet potato video. Stay tuned for the next one and the last one. I do have a playlist of sweet potato recipes. I'll link that down below, and you can check those out. Yeah, what do you do with all those sweet potatoes now that you've grown them? So click that notification bell if you want to be notified when I upload my other sweet potato video. So until the next time that we can go digging in the dirt, happy gardening. Bye.